Now that we have divided into areas, what we need to do is we need to move the data inside the data access and models inside uplift.models. So here we have the models folder and we have the error view model. Let me copy this and paste it inside the models folder. So we'll remove the default class 1 that it came with. Let me do the same inside the data access as well, and inside the utility as well. So right now utility is empty, and that's okay. We do not need the models here anymore. So we'll go ahead and remove this. So the utility project will have areas, views, and data right now. The data, we will also move that inside the uplift.data access. So if we expand here, we have migrations and we have the application DB context. So let me just cut or move this folder inside our data access, and we'll remove the data folder from uplift. Perfect. If we open the application DB context, we have to change the namespace. The namespace will be uplift.dataaccess.data. Because we dragged it from here, it did not change the namespace, but whenever you do that, make sure you change this. Inside migrations, we can delete everything that is there right now. So we'll delete both of the migrations, and these will be added again when we create the project. So let me just remove the migrations, and as we move forward, I'll explain again, but we'll just remove whatever was there right now. So that's all that we had inside the data folder. And what I usually like to do is I also like to move the migrations folder outside of the data folder. This looks good. So outside we have two folders, one is data and one is migration. Now inside the data folder, we will be adding two new folders. First will be the initializer, and the second folder will be repository. Now what these folders will be responsible for, I will explain in the upcoming videos when we need that, but we just have the basic structure right now in place. Now when we added the application DB context here, it is referencing the identity DB context and all of the context, but you can see you are not getting any errors, and that is because we have already added the extensions to this class library. So we were all good when we made those changes. So now as you can see, our code is much more cleaner. We have everything inside the class libraries, and inside the main project, we only have the controllers, which is inside areas, and we have the shared views, and the individual views will be inside the specific areas. So you can see it is much more organized, and even when it grows to large scale, it will be easier to manage. So let's try to run our project. We have few errors, so let's do no here. And it is looking for a folder inside the Uplift project, which is not possible because it has moved to a new class library. So for that, what we will do is inside dependencies, we'll add a project dependencies. And right here, we will only add the data access. Great, it is still not able to find this, not to worry. We'll go to the data access now. We'll add a dependency here. And here we will add the access or the projects for models and utility. Great, you can see once we did that, the error went away. We do not want to directly add uplift to the models because it should go through data access, and data access should be able to modify or deal with the models. So that way you have to make sure you follow that chain. Now let's build our project again. And we have again another error, which is for data. In the startup, it is trying to access the data. But we do not need that anymore because the data has moved inside the data access. So after that, if we try to build the project, we have the application DB context not found. and that is because this has moved inside the data access. But if we do a control dot here to see the fixes, you can see we just need to add a using statement for uplift.dataaccess.data, and the error goes away, and now we can run our application. So these are a few changes that you have to do when you are implementing end-tier architecture to your project, but once it is in place, it will be there for good, and when you expand your project to add hundreds of files, it will be always cleaner and much more organized. So you can see the project is up and running and everything is the same before, except the structure of the project has changed to an end-tier architecture. Now in the next video, before we start implementing repository pattern and all of those details, we will be using few extensions or third-party tools for our project like Font Awesome, Suite Alerts, Toaster, Datatables, and much more. Let's add all of that to our project in the next section. In this video, I want to change the default styling for our project. We are using Bootstrap. We will continue to use Bootstrap, but we will add a wrapper around that. And when I mean by wrapper, we'll be using Bootsweb templates for Bootstrap. So let me pull up bootsweb.com. So here, if you go to bootsweb.com, they have many free themes for Bootstrap which you can use. And if you scroll down, you can pick any theme you want. I will be using Jquery for our project. So you can do a preview. Let me open a new tab. And here you can see how the nav bars, buttons, and headings and everything will look like. This looks good for our project, so we'll go back and we'll hit the download. We want to download the Bootsweb.css, and that should be good for our project. Let me open this up. I just opened it in Notepad, so I'll just copy this. We'll minimize this, go to our project. Inside www-root, we have lib bootstrap dist css. We have our bootstrap.css. Let me remove this and we'll paste the Bootsweb theme. We'll save this and let's run our project, and we should see a different theme now. So it is this easy to implement a new theme. Now here we need to make some changes to our underscore layout to see the new theme in action. So let me minimize this. Let me go to the underscore layout, which is inside views, shared, and underscore layout. Now here we need to get the CSS for our new Bootsweb template. So if we go to the Bootsweb, here we have the navbar and this is what we want. So I can just copy this all together. Let me copy it. We'll go back to our code, and above of our navbar, we'll paste that, save it, and we'll go back to our website and refresh it. It will display two navbars to us. There we go. Now we'll make sure that we move all of this to the content above and remove the search bar. That should be much simpler to do. So if we scroll down, right here, we have the anchor tag and we have the button. Let me cut this. We'll scroll up. We have the anchor tag and the button here. So let me paste it here. Now here on the home page, we do not have any areas, but we added the customer area after this template was generated. So we can make that change here. If we go back and refresh now, great. You can see uplift has been displayed here. So this looks good. Let's go back now. And one thing that we have to change here is the data target. So data target will be navbar color 01. So we'll make that, and that's the change that we made when we pasted what we had from the bottom. Other than that, everything looks good. We do not need the area controls, so we can remove that. Now that we have our anchor tag and button in place, we'll work on the main div. And in here, we just need to copy the anchor tags. So if we go down, I'll cut this first one and we'll paste it right here. We'll go down and also cut the privacy. We'll be removing both of them in the future, but right now we'll just keep them like that. And we'll remove these two. And then you see we have a partial for login partial. So what this is basically the login and register buttons here. They are our partial view. So let me cut this from here. We'll go top and let me paste it right here. So this looks good. Let's save this. Let's run our application. We have to change the coloring here, but you can see the login and register are appearing. So this looks good. We have the text dark. Let me remove that. We do not need this. Let's save this and see how things look like. Great. And the login and register, let me cut this from here. Okay, so now they have moved on the right hand side. We still need to change the color for login and register. So that can be done inside underscore login partial. So if we go here, you can see we have login partial. So we'll just remove the text dark. And let's save this and refresh. Great, this looks more aligned to what we have right now. So this looks good. Let's go back to underscore layout. We'll just remove this active. And everything looks good right now. So we have applied Bootswatch to our website. That is just one of the templates that we needed. One last thing that you can see is our previous navbar is actually hidden behind that. So let's remove that. So we'll go back. This is the new navbar. We'll remove the old navbar, save the changes and refresh. Perfect. This is much more better. Now in the next video, we need to implement few more third-party tools in our website. So let's take a look at that. Now in this video, I want to show you the third-party tools that we'll be using in our project. And I want to add all of them at once so that in future we do not have to go and add when we need that. We have it when we need it. The first one is Datatables. And this is https://datatables.net. If you have never worked with it, it is a great tool to display a table with sorting, pagination, and search criteria filled in automatically for you. You can see in the example here is a demo of the table that you'll see. It already has a pagination. It has number of pages count that you want to display per pagination. And it also has the search criteria. So if you try searches for accountant, it will automatically filter across all of the columns and fetch you the result. That way you do not have to worry about implementing all of these features. So in order to use that, we have the CDN that you need to include for both CSS as well as JavaScript. If you want, you can also go to cdn.datatables.net and here you have the exact CDNs that you have to include. That is one of the extensions. Next is Toaster. Toaster is used for displaying nice notifications. If you go to demo here and you see show Toaster, you can see nice notifications that you can see for success, or also if there is any error or warning, you can customize them and we will do that in our course. But right now we will be implementing the Toaster. For that, Toaster also has CDN.js and we will be using the CDN for Toaster from the URL here. Next plugin that we'll use is Sweet Alert. As the name suggests here, it is an alert, but it displays in a nice fancy manner. If you go to advanced examples here and do a preview, you can see right out of the box, you get all of this nice CSS. So that's what we will be using for our project. In order to use that, we won't be using the most latest version, but I will be using 1.1.3. If you want to implement the most latest version, you can go ahead and do that. But when I used this for the first time, this was the version, and I think that looks good right now for our project needs. But if you want to be fancy, you can always try to implement the latest version, but the code might be slightly different with the syntax. So if you want it to work exactly as the project, make sure you use 1.1.3. Next is Font Awesome. Font Awesome is used for beautiful icons throughout your website. So here, if you take a look at few of the icons once it loads, you have tons of free icons that are available. We'll be using only free icons for our website, but there are plenty of them to use for our website as well. Now, in order to use Font Awesome, now they have an email requirement. So once you register your email, they will send you a link where you can extract the script to use it on your website. I'll be using this script directly because I have already registered and got this link. The last object that we need is Jquery Serializer, and this is needed to serialize the JSON request that we'll be sending throughout our website during our API calls. So I'll be using this plugin. Now, getting all of these CDNs and writing them inside your underscore layout is somewhat tedious. So what I have done is with the lecture, I have attached a file with all of that for you, so you can just copy and paste that. Let me open up that file for you. So this will be the file that will be attached to this lecture, and here you can see the CSS as well as the JavaScript. So all you have to do is you need to copy all of this CSS. Here we have Datatables, Jquery UI, Toaster, and Sweet Alert. We'll go to our project. Inside our underscore layout, we'll go to the very top, and inside the head tag, we have all of the existing CSS. Here in the Bootstrap, it is using minified version. We will change this to use the direct bootstrap.css. After we make that change, we will paste all the styling that we copied. Once we have pasted the CSS, it's time to work on JavaScript. So we'll go back to the file and we'll copy this. We'll scroll down in underscore layout. At the very end, we will have the JavaScript files. We will paste everything that we copied here. Now in here, everything should work as expected with the code that I have provided. I'm just not so sure about Font Awesome because they have provided individual JS once you register. So all you can do if this does not work for Font Awesome, you can go on their website and register for an account with your email, and they will email you a SRC like what you see on the screen, and you can use that to proceed with the course. That being said, we have all of